And he goes on, he's fluffing his feathers really quick, and I look at him, and I said, do I need to call my attorney? Do we have something else going on here? Boom, it brought way down after that. But that's the way they think about it, okay? Yeah. It's crazy, you guys. They don't respect you, and they don't think you guys have any rights. If they're willing to treat us like that, and we're out to protect you and guard your information, and if they're willing to walk into our store and talk to us like that, imagine what they think about you. Okay.
Did you call my own?
And if there's an ATF agent, you're probably in big trouble because they don't want you all to hear this. And I'm covering these topics because they have been in the news, but no dealer ever really tells you guys how bad it really is. It is bad. So, so what did they do? They came in, we pulled, we did about 7,000 weapons out of our store last year, Don. They pulled every 4473 out. We got boxes that looks like a mountain, and they go through every one, and they look at every one. So, we're not doing anything illegal. Yes.
First, the database.
Yes.
They say they have no database, they hide it under a briefcase.
There is a database, you guys.
Exactly everything and everybody what they
Yes, it's a print-off. They came in, they know who bought what, when, where, and how. The federal government has a database on you. We saw it, matter of fact, it's still on my desk in the back because the guy screwed up our audit so many times he forgot it. Yes, Ron?
When I got my CCW, during the interview, he printed out 3 sheets, came out with my name, single line.
Yes.
Blew me away. I didn't know I had
Roland's got the bow and arrow in his vest. No, there is a database. We saw it. They see everything on you guys. I mean, I don't say, you know, don't stop from buying and doing what you guys do, but just know there is a database. And you know what? The intimidation is nothing more than to review our books. I mean, look, out of 7,4473 forms, you guys, we got written up 13 times because you guys didn't write the word Los Angeles. Give me a break. It's human error. It's not even a 2% error ratio. We don't get a fine. It's more like, don't do it again. But what it does to the dealers, and they do it to all of them, whether it's Ammo Brothers, Rifle Gear, us, it's intimidation, and it keeps you in check to follow what they want you to do. So they can always kind of shut you down as a dealer, and they do it to all of us. And that's one way to kind of go after you guys. All your information is being tracked. ATF requires to notify them of multiple purchases. 2 handguns is all it takes, private party and window. We didn't know about this. There's so many damn laws out there. So when you guys come in and you want to buy a handgun from me, but let's say Joe Snow's got one on my counter. Well, that's a private party transfer. It has no bearing on your 30-day purchase or even the dealer sale. We are required, and we have filled out all the paperwork. If you buy 2 handguns, and I don't care how you get them or where you get them, I fill out a form on you guys, and I mail it to ATF the next day.
If we have the same day?
Same day.
Okay, but...
Well, I think they give us a couple days, but yeah.
Alternate days, no.
No, it's supposed to be every 7 days. They told us if you bring in 3 private party handguns or 2 private party handguns, you can private party 1, but in 7 days you can do another one. If you do them together, we have to print out a form. We got to fill it all out. Otherwise, they'll find us for it if we don't fill it out and do it.
I'm reporting you guys. We never do it. I don't think Rifle Gear knows it. I don't even think Turner's knows it. Apparently, this is law, and we got a little slap on the wrist. It's not a fine. It's just a no. If you buy a private party handgun and a dealer handgun, even though we know the private party is exempt, I have to report you. And there's a piece of paper, and Kristen, my assistant, mails it out. So they are tracking you guys in a big way. And, you know, I just want you all to be aware of this because even some of this stuff, we weren't even aware of it. And I don't think every dealer knows the extent of the laws that go down on this. So let's go ahead and go to the next slide. 80% AR-15 lowers. Untraceable, unregistered, multiple usage, pistols and rifles. They hate it. They want it, and they want it gone, you guys. This is your opportunity. Don't miss your opportunity during like the assault weapons ban. you know, if you can do it, do an 80%. It's called a ghost gun. If you look at the ammunition, they were going after the green tip ammunition recently. It all started because everybody's making these little small AR-15 pistols. Yeah, they can penetrate vests, but that's why we all want them. And so, if you're not doing an 80% and you're young guys like these two sitting up front here, you need to own one of those. Every American should own one of those. They don't know what you're doing, they can't trace it, and you can turn it into whatever you want. And we'll be auctioning one off. Not auctioning, we have a raffle for one tonight too, for you guys. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Micro-stamping technology. No new handguns will ever be on roster. How long will manufacturers produce old models? This is a ban on handguns. We see it every day, you guys. So 6-hour Glock. Matter of fact, I just got the new Glock 43 in the shop. You're not allowed to own it, and you will never own the new Glock 43. Single stack 9mm. It's a great little carry gun. You'll never own a new gun in the state of California until we overturn the micro-stamping technology. Because any gun that comes on the roster must have that. Nobody has it, nobody's gonna do it, and it's never gonna be done. So the thought is, how long are they gonna keep Glock, for example, making the Generation 3s? Well, you know, maybe next year they come out with the Generation 5s. So eventually, nobody's gonna produce an old gun, and there will be no guns on roster. Hopefully we can overturn this. I think the lawyers probably have more to say about that than I even know. Okay, the next slide. CCW process. State Attorney General will take this to a 9-judge panel, stacking the court to overturn our previous win. I don't know, somebody told me it's a 13-judge now. Maybe we'll get a 30-judge panel. I mean, almost everybody who walks in my shop nowadays has a gun on them. They're getting their concealed weapons permit. 3 weeks ago, no more concealed weapons permits in Orange County. They're stopping it. And this woman is going to get as many judges as she can to stack this court to overturn this on you guys. LA has been in violation of it since day one. San Diego kind of followed suit because they're the ones that lost it. At least Orange County did issue, I think they issued about 5,000 of them. You do need a new cause now to get a concealed weapons permit in Orange County. And I believe that she will stack this judge until she can overturn it. Yes, sir. Riverside County kind of fights it. San Bernardino and Riverside County are both kind of in and out on it. They will issue, I think they're a little bit more lenient on their good cause statement. Orange County, if you want concealed weapons permit in Orange County, the best way to do it is you own your own business. I carry cash, I collect cash. When I got my concealed weapons permit like 7 years ago, I was the only dealer in the whole class. They're all electricians and plumbers, you guys. They can be called out anytime, in any place. They carry cash, they collect cash. Here's your concealed weapons permit. That's really what it takes to get one in Orange County under the good cause. Next. There we go. Any questions? Yes, sir. Say that again? No, we haven't seen any traces of ammo sales as of yet. I know Los Angeles has a real issue with it. If you guys buy online, a lot of the vendors don't want to ship into Los Angeles, but so far I'm not seeing anything on ammo. Yes, sir.
Anything with regards to the federal, if you have a CCW in other states, applying that like a license, like a driver's license to all states?
The guy in the corner probably answered that a little bit better in regards to concealed weapons. And see, every state is unique, and California is California. They don't accept anybody's concealed weapons permit. And by the way, once you do get a concealed weapons permit in California, it's good for the whole state, no matter what county issues. Kern County, Don and I will be up there next Saturday. If you don't have a concealed weapons permit in Kern County, I don't know what you're thinking, because they hand them out like a bottle of water. Yeah.
Well, yeah, he's kind of getting, the sheriff there is in the news as far as being
yeah, he's real good.
Yeah.
I mean, we're going to be up there doing a weapons demonstration this weekend, and I mean, you know, it's like, you got to have a gun. I mean, I got, $20,000 worth of weapons, and everybody's got guns except for the dealer. Yeah. So, anyways, it is more serious. I wanted you guys to see these letters because Operation Choke Point and what they're doing on the back end is real. Our credit cards have been denied. Your credit cards get denied, and we sit there and look at you guys in the shop, and they do it to you. The banks are doing it, and they really are coming after the dealers. Yes.
I'm sorry, I didn't interrupt.
No, no, go ahead.
Conversation around things towards like a Bitcoin or an e-currency, is that something that's like to try and get it outside of the Federal Reserve, etc.?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we talk about Bitcoin and different currencies to do it. I mean, I know there's a lot of talk of it out there. I mean, the way it is right now, cash is king in the United States. I don't know if you all know this. You've been watching. They're doing a full military exercise coming out of Texas right now. It's in California. I mean, we had one fly over the shop today. We all walked out there, and this thing looks like it has a UFO disc on top of it. It is. It's a military exercise. Santa Ana PD called us. Called one of our customers in the shop today. They're concerned about it. They're actually saying the Russians are involved in the exercise through, I think there's 4 states involved. Arizona, Texas, Utah.
Colorado apparently just pulled out.
I don't want to get into the conspiracy part. So if you're going to train for Iraq, Iran, Afghanistan, or any of these countries, you train in an environment that you're going to be deployed in. Well, they're training in the United States, you guys.
For crowd control.
Oh yeah, as a matter of fact, I think they've even been on film taking crowd control. What it is, I don't know, but they're doing it. I mean, I'm 47 years old, and I don't remember the military flying over my house, or Black Hawk helicopters cruising through Los Angeles, and we all know that's been done. So you can kind of take it for what it is. They really want your guys' guns. I mean, we see the denials on a daily basis. Don't update your California driver's license, DMV rejection. I mean, if you don't pay a ticket, don't buy a gun. Yeah. You got a smog issue, a registration issue, you ain't buying a gun. Yes, sir.
Just real quick, Steve, I'm a little confused about the micro-stamping technology.
Yeah.
How that translates to it being a ban on handguns.
It is a ban on handguns. So right now we have the roster of handguns, and I need to make this quick because I think I got about a minute. We have the roster of handguns. California says what you can buy. You're not allowed to buy a Glock Generation 4. This is the latest one out there. Because it will never be approved on roster because it doesn't have microstamping technology. Nobody has it. Nobody's going to do it. It's never going to get done. And Smith & Wesson and Ruger are basically pulled out of California right now. Glock and HK. We're having a hard time getting Glock 19s, 26s, and this whole list of guns we're having a hard time with right now. And I'm probably in trouble. I need to get off this now.
Well, the other thing too, the other thing too is your 80% lowers. Don't take them in somewhere to get them Cerakoted.
Don't do that.
And they ask for your ID. They take a copy of it and they keep records of that.
Yes.
Then ATF shows up, gets it, and then they come knocking on your door saying you didn't do all the work. I've already heard it. They've done it to rifle gear, and I've already heard that they've taken 10 or 15 guns from people.
So if you need Cerakoting and it's an 80%
Don't give
lower,
your ID.
Come into the shop, do it quick. I'll get Matt on the back, and I want that thing out of there the same day. We don't sit it on it
And
overnight
don't give your ID
because I need to log it, and sometimes they actually maybe want us to serialize it. So what's the point of having an 80%? Yeah, don't forget. I wish I had it on video. You have no rights.
Yep.
We all saw it. That's the way they think about it. That's the way they think about us. What do they think about you? I mean, I was floored. If I had that on video, I would have YouTubed it. It would have been on Fox News. Who would have thought that somebody would walk into my business and tell us we have no rights?
He's an oath breaker.
That's right.
Yep.
That's right.
All right. On that,
Thank you, guys.
Thanks a lot. That was really informative. That was really, really good. Yeah.
Where are they located and what are their hours?
Very good.
They who?
We're 10 to 7 Tuesday through Friday, 10 to 4 on Saturdays. We're on New Hope Street in between Slater and Warner.
Jerry looks rifle gear. They send all their customers over here. Dawn is probably the best gunsmith in Southern California.
All right, and they got cards. They got a table over here. They got cards. They got 80% lowers. And they donated some to our raffle, too. These are really good guys. They're really supporting us. So let's show them a reciprocal support. Okay. I'm going to bring up Frank Alonso to introduce our next speaker. Before I do, I just want to remind y'all, let's keep the talk down a little bit. And if there's a conversation you have to have, take it into the bar area or outside, please, because the people in here, we got speaking going on, we got people who want to hear them, and let's just, you know, show them that courtesy. All right, I'm going to bring up Frank. Frank Alonzo.
Thank you, Bobby. Thank you so much for having us today again. We're going to bring up Robert Schechter. He's going to do a presentation from Disneyland to Fantasyland. We're here, we're fighting against the bill in California, the Senate bill SB 277. A real quick word here on Campaign for Liberty. Started in 2009 by Ron Paul. 700,000 members nationwide. And basically what Campaign for Liberty is, and does, is defend liberty and promote liberty at every cost, at all costs. The beautiful thing what's happening with Campaign for Liberty now is they are here in California, stronger than ever. And they're here to do one thing. They educate, yes, but the thing they're doing now is eliminating any politician that goes against our liberties. That's what we're all about. They came into California last year and they provided all the training tools to fight every politician. Basically, you have groups, many groups that want to get politicians elected. Campaign for Liberty wants to get people out. And that's what we're going to do. I'm working on getting a big fighting crew here in Orange County and in California. We're regrouping, we're organized. We have a petition here you can sign afterwards. SB 277, stop SB 277. Some state people want to stick a needle in you and our children against our free will. Robert, you're on. Thank you.
Thank you, Frank. Thank you, guys, for showing up here tonight. I appreciate it. I have a lot of respect for what you guys are doing as the Oath Keepers. My dad was in the military for 20 years. He left the service before I was old enough to recall what it was like living on a military base, but I remember going to the PX and commissary as a kid. I went to a criminal justice college in Manhattan and know a lot of people that went on to the law enforcement careers. A lot of them are retired now. Time goes by pretty quickly. And also worked for the New York City Fire Department for a couple of years before we went out here. The reason I'm here tonight is because I don't know if a lot of you have heard, but there was a measles epidemic, or you can really call anything an epidemic if it's more cases than are usually expected. So 10 cases could be an outbreak, 20 cases could be an outbreak. But what's going on now is the media seized on the Disneyland aspect of what was happening and kind of used it to advance their agenda. We all know the media kind of leans a little bit left. They like to see the government getting involved in whatever perceived problem there is. So the measles all of a sudden became a problem. CNN covered it heavily. They were calling it a public health crisis. And then the public health establishment used that to start introducing bills around the country to limit your ability to say no to vaccines to go to school. In many, because it's a state's issue, it varies from state to state what the requirement is to go to school. About 30 states have a religious exemption, and then 20 have an exemption based on a philosophical exemption where you just don't want to be medicating a healthy child for 18 years to go to school. So right now there's a bill in the legislature called SB 277, and it stirred up a lot of activism. It's going through committee hearings right now. Tomorrow will be the Education Committee. Last week was the Health Committee. And there was a huge turnout, anywhere from 1,000 to 2,000 people. They flooded the offices. It was on the news, but right now, because I think you have an idea of how our state leans with the Democratic majority, they're always looking for the common good and, you know, what can government do? Nanny statism, bike helmets, don't go to the park alone like we've seen recently coming up. So vaccination is just one more thing that they're putting on us now. And it's not like we don't have laws already. We have, I believe, 93% vaccination rate, which is incredibly high. Only 2.5% of the population uses this person of belief exemption. And it's not for all the vaccines. There's so many vaccines right now. There's about 69 doses over 18 years. So even if you decline a birth dose of the hepatitis B vaccine, which is generally a sexually transmitted disease, you're considered exempt. You're not unvaccinated, but you're exempt. So they're putting on the pressure to get parents to medicate their children against their will. The measles, you know, I'm 50 years old. Measles was kind of phasing out when I grew up, but my parents told me it was nothing to worry about. You talk to grandparents, but everybody has their own story. But the medical textbooks at the time basically described it as a minor illness and annoyance. Certainly sometimes it had more serious consequences, but that was rare. And a lot of times it was an underlying health condition or poor nutrition, whatever. But now now it's a deadly disease. And it's just out of control the way they're hiding it. So let me just go to my notes. But I'm going to talk for about 10 more minutes. They gave me 15 to 20 minutes to give a little presentation here, and then I'll take any questions, and then I'll be around if anybody is curious about anything pertaining to the issue. One of the main reasons that they give for saying you have to do this is because you're not an innocent person. You're someone who's a risk to other people. By choosing not to protect yourself against, say, the measles, you're endangering other people. But if the danger of the measles, whatever small danger that is, didn't already exist, there would be nothing to vaccinate against. So you're really not protecting other people from something. You can't, in a free society, be forced to protect other people. The only time state coercion, violence, or anything else, punishment can be addressed against a person is if that person's not innocent, if they're creating a risk. But doing nothing doesn't create a risk. And that's really in the debate. If you listen to radio interviews, they did something on KFI today, and that's kind of one of the main talking points, that we're putting people at risk by not doing anything. And I'm trying to get through to people that that's really impossible. You don't affect people by your choice to do nothing. A lot of us in the audience haven't gotten a flu shot this year. We're not endangering each other. And there's no rationale why I could go up to one person, hold them down, inject them with a flu shot, and say you were endangering me. And that's kind of what they're doing through the schools. So the current program is very successful in getting kids to vaccinate, whether they want it or not. A lot of parents believe they don't have a choice. Their doctor tells them, well, you're going to have to do it. You're going to have to do it for school anyway. They tell you no shots, no school, but there are exemptions like we spoke. But with the current system, there's about a 93% vaccination rate. So, it's all-time high. It's been around 90, 92%, 93%, so very high. But what they're doing now to create a crisis mentality, when you have all-time rates, they come up with a concept of clusters. So apparently they find a little charter school that has maybe 50 children in the charter school, and some of those children, maybe 20%, have an exemption to one or more vaccines, and they spotlight that school out of 9,500 schools in California and make it out to be the pertussis or the measles is going to get into that school and just take over the state from those few kids. And then there are counties which have lower than average vaccination rates, but rates are always going to vary. There's never been a time where there's been a 92% vaccination rate throughout the state. The media focuses a lot on Marin County, which has an 88% vaccination rate, which is still incredibly high. Right now, the flu in adults is about 40 to 50%. So if they had an 88% flu shot rate, they'd be ecstatic, but now it's dangerously low. So they introduced legislation in 2012 called AB 2109, which was supposed to mandate parents going for a doctor lecture to tell you about the miracle of vaccination. And that's actually reduced the people who have filed for exemptions. So even in those little areas where rates are slightly lower, the exemptions have been going down. So it's even one more reason that there's not a problem going on today. And they'll tell you, well, the science says vaccines are perfectly safe, and you have no reason to decline it. And, with only 5 more minutes left, it's really hard to debate what's risky and what's not, but it all boils down to whether the science says something is safe or not. You don't have the right to force people to do things against their will, especially if they're innocent people. So I think that's a false argument. And there's about, we have a pretty big state. We have about 500,000 kids coming into the state every year, into the school system. So vaccination rates are basically tabulated by kindergarten classes. So each year, like I said, 500,000, you get about 12,000 that get these exemptions for as few as one vaccine. Considering you're in school for maybe 12 years, that's over 100,000 people that have these exemptions right now. So you're going to hurt a lot of families, whether they're rational or not for not wanting the vaccine. They're still going to be hurt by being made to do something that they're very strongly opposed to for a negligible benefit, if you can even call it a benefit. So that's basically what the government does. They impose programs that serve what they believe is the common good, and they disregard the people that are hurt to get those alleged benefits. Interestingly enough, the American Medical Association is a big supporter of this bill, but they have philosophical exemptions for their own people. That hypocritical fact really has not come to light in the hearings. It's hard to get the message across to senators and assemblymen. We have a grassroots organization, some Facebook pages. Like I said, we had a big turnout in the Senate. But to get a message through, there's a lot of clutter, there's a lot of noise, so that really hasn't resonated yet. So it's going to be a long fight, so we hope to get the word out a little bit more. And the one argument is there are people with compromised immune systems, and we have to protect them. And I feel for those people, and I feel like if you can protect somebody, you should. But if you see somebody drowning in a lake, you should go get them out. But if you're carrying your own child at that time, your responsibility, your trust is for that child. So you can't be asked to place your child in a position of risk when you have a strong belief that it is a position of risk for somebody else's benefit. And they never tell you how many people have to get how many unwanted vaccines to prevent one case of a serious case of one illness. It's just kind of a theoretical concept, kind of to make us look cold-hearted, to put us in a bad light. But like I said, if I believe vaccines aren't the right thing for my child, because I have that child in a basis of a trust, I don't own the child, I really have to do what I feel is best for that child, not use her or him as an object to serve someone else's goals. All right. And finally, the last point is one of those arguments that make a lot of this as well. The government's job is to protect health and safety, but as you guys, as you guys know, the main job of the government is to protect individual rights and liberty. When you protect individual rights and liberty, a derivation of that is protecting health and safety. For example, if I opened a coal-fired power plant next to your house, and I was violating your rights by, dumping coal ash on you, that wouldn't be so much protecting your safety, it would be protecting your right not to have your rights violated. Same thing with health. You don't have a right to be protected from forces of nature. You don't have a right to other people paying to make you healthy. It's like Obamacare. You don't have a right to put other people's tax dollars at work for your health. So that's about it. I think we kind of summarized the situation, hit a few key points, and I appreciate your attention. I probably have time for a couple of questions if anybody's interested. Oh, and please sign the petition over there with Frank opposing SB 277.
Yeah, what's the rationale that if you believe the vaccines work,
Right.
how are you endangering those people by not getting vaccinated?
Well, first I would say...
The only way you'd be in danger of being unvaccinated is if the vaccines don't work.
Well, I would say there's 2 points to answer on that. I would say first, it's not a case of you endangering somebody else, because when the virus, you don't realize you're infected. The virus is basically using you to get around throughout the community, so you have no intent to get somebody sick. It's not like a deranged nurse in a hospital going around infecting people with an HIV-infected needle where you have an idea of what you're doing. You're just kind of a vehicle the virus passes through. As far as vaccines working or not working, they have a varying degree of effectiveness. The measles is pretty good. It's about 95 to 99%. The pertussis vaccine is a terrible vaccine. You need about 6 doses, and there's still really hardly any protection. A mid-range vaccine, say there's 85%. So, they're so totalitarian they can't tolerate that there should be any risk in the world. So, yes, there's a tiny risk that a vaccinated person still could contract the disease. That's why they figure if they can get 99% of the population, even if that's against their will, that'll stop the transmission flow, and those that either are too young to be vaccinated or those whose vaccination fails still can't get it because there's kind of a wall around. And that's a great idea if it's voluntary. You just can't force people to achieve your public health goals.
With some science being talked about, what's to say, did they ever trace back if that recent measles outbreak was due to an MMR vaccination? Because it says on the insert, you can contract measles from the actual vaccination.
I think they did some research on that, and they traced it back to a strain from the Philippines, which is interesting because they try to make it out that vaccination rates are still all-powerful in determining things. But foreign travel determines a lot. We have a large immigrant population from the Philippines here. Philippine immigration has been up by about 100% over the last 10 years, so you're going to get more people going back and forth to a place where there's more measles. So that, more than vaccination rates, will affect the possibility of contracting measles in California. But it's theoretically possible to contract it from the virus, but it's not a major risk. It's quite rare.
Got this lady over there.
Hi, since we're on vaccines, I just have to tell you 2 pieces of information that I have from personal experience. I have a girlfriend who did not get a polio vaccine. She had polio. She is severely crippled right now, so she was always sad that she didn't get the vaccine. However, I also have experience with the idea of shaken baby. And in the particular baby, in the case that I'm trying to defend, we plotted their weight, the weight of that child, from birth up through the time he went to the hospital. And I'm telling you, as a science person, if you take a graph, you'd see a perfectly straight slope going slightly up, and at 2-month vaccine, it goes flat. There is a clear difference. At the 4-month vaccine, that flat line suddenly goes, whoop, it skyrockets. 3 weeks later, the baby's in the hospital. I can't say that that's a cause, but I think there's a correlation. And I'm working right now with a lady from Canada who has connections, and we're going to be getting data and looking at this and the possibility. I think vaccines are vaccinating little bitty babies and assaulting their immune system. I'm not sure that's a good idea. So there's information. They're not 100% safe for every single being. And there are certain people that have problems because of it. So I'm convinced of that, although I don't have it proved 100%.
Isn't the issue also not just the fact that it's whether or not vaccine science works, but the fact that the adjuvants that are in there, that we're not getting clean vaccines?
Correct.
That's part of the crux of the issue, is it not?
Well, I don't, because it's a biological product, it's a medical product, it's not something natural, so I don't know how you could get something clean. So that's why they call it an unavoidably unsafe product. That's what they called it in the Supreme Court decision. Because it's a product that, by the way it's designed, you can't change the design to make it any safer. I mean, it is what it is, or it wouldn't do what they, say it does. It's like a car that has a gas tank in a bad spot. That you can change. The vaccine, you can't change. It's going to do what it does, and some people are adversely affected by it. Yes.
I don't agree with that because, first of all, pharmaceuticals have to make money. If they produce a toxin or a cure for a vaccination or such, they don't make it a pure vaccine. Because if they did, we could wipe out probably 3/4 of the things that go out there because of the fact that they can't sell anymore because you're cured. So the point being here is it's not just a matter. We're asked to get the flu shot. That flu shot has been killing people as much as not having the flu shot. So consequently, I don't trust vaccines from the standpoint of what we believe they should be doing versus what they really are doing. We don't know what they put into those things anymore because they won't even show us what the actual ingredients are. If they did, some of us would probably file suits against the pharmaceuticals for the fact that they intentionally are attempting to impact on us physically and our health lives. And with the other things that are going on in this country, it's just an accumulation of different factors involved.
Well, you made two good points there. The first, with the flu shots, they, push it. My mom passed away recently, but she was, out here in her 70s and 80s, and anytime she would go to the doctor, they're, all about the flu shots, and you need the flu shot. But it's a varying effectiveness. This year, I believe the U.S. flu shot was about 12% effective, and you're not going to get the flu every year. You might get it once every 10 years. So you're basically getting a shot year after year that may or may not work in this year because they have to match up the particular flu strain with the shot. So it's kind of hit or miss. So it's we know how much medical overtreatment there is. So to think vaccines aren't part of the whole medical system would be, just not seeing the world as it is. Then as far as your point about lawsuits, you actually can't sue in a traditional method. If your child is injured by a vaccine, you have to go through what's called vaccine court, and that was set up so the drug companies actually would not be sued out of business because it's such a, there's so much liability in the business. So, now you're kind of constrained as to what you can do. I'm told I have only 2 more minutes, so let me take one more question in the back, and then I'll be here if, not to disturb anybody else, but, if you have questions, I'll stick around to handle them outside. Also, before I forget, my Facebook page it's pretty easy to remember. It's called The Vaccine Machine. Vaccine Machine is kind of what Rand Paul is saying now, the Washington machine, kind of the vaccine establishment. So find me on Facebook, The Vaccine Machine. And last question?
Has mercury been eliminated from all vaccines?
Almost all, except I believe it's called a multi-dose flu shot, and that's the one where you have to dip the needle. I'm not sure of the process exactly, so don't hold me to it. But I believe it's a vial, and you can get the sterile needle in, pull some out, vaccinate a child, then with another sterile needle go back in. So the thimerosal, which is the mercury, is in there as kind of to make sure it doesn't get contaminated, for lack of a better word. But most of the other ones were taken out. I'm not sure exactly when, but they found out doing a review of all the vaccines that had exceeded, I believe, the FDA or EPA limits for the amount of mercury that could be in the vaccines, you know, because it's not just one vaccine, you have to look at the whole schedule. So thank you for your attention. I really appreciate it.
Okay, great. Yeah, make sure you get up here and sign this petition. Government shouldn't be forcing us to do anything. Okay, I've known Lee for a couple of years. Great Minuteman lady. She and Carol are going to come up and talk to you for a few minutes about the latest project they're working on. Come on up, ladies.
Really appreciate you letting us talk to you today. I think you're going to like this. Lee and I representing Celebrate the USA. Something. How many people like to do that? Anybody want to do that? Field trips for patriots. How many people here got kids? Anybody here? Kids? Okay, grandkids. Better yet. Well, I'm a newly retired school teacher, and I can tell you that the amount of American history your kids are getting in school is pretty paltry. And the quality of it is questionable. Because what I want is for my kids to love America the way I do, the way you do. So anyway, I was working on doing a Patriot camp, and Lee came up with the idea, so why don't we just do field trips right here in Southern California? And the more we thought about it, the more ideas we came up with. So we are organizing their monthly field trips. Let me just give you a quick rundown. We just had the Civil War reenactment at Prado in Chino this last weekend. On Memorial Day, we're going to go to Forest Lawn and Covina because the kids need to know what is meant by giving their last full measure of devotion. They need to know that came from Lincoln's Gettysburg Address. They need to understand what that means. They need to know the difference between Memorial Day and Veterans Day. We have, thank you, got a few veterans here. They know the difference. You like when President Obama said at Memorial Day, and he was pointing out, he saw some military, and they said, we have some of the members here with us today. And we go, oh.
Case in point.
Yeah, anyway, we have kids, we're going to be marching to the 4th of July parade in Ontario on Saturday, the 4th of July. In August, we're going to be doing Independence Hall at Knott's Berry Farm. September, Constitution Day in Redlands. October, we're going to Riley's Farm. We have quite a good reenactment there. And in November, in Pilgrim's Place in Claremont, California, is a lot of reenactment for, I'm going to let you handle some of this. I'm going to leave this to Lee to fill in all of my blanks. But what we've got here is just a clipboard. All we want from you is your contact information. So when we're getting ready to have one of these, you can come. We're going to hand out these little flyers that just has our Facebook page and website, that kind of thing, so that it can take more than one. If you know somebody who would like to go to this, you can go to this, but it'll give you information on our Facebook page about why we're doing this and where we're going. And now let Lee finish what I didn't do.
One of the projects we're working on will be Flag Day. You know, June 14th is our Flag Day. Yes. And what we're going to do is we're going to have a class for the kids and tell them about our flag, the colors. We'll have different flags throughout the different times in history. And so that's what we want to do, is to teach our kids what it meant for us to have our flag, and that we need to respect our flag, and it's our symbol of freedom. So all this came about is because of, do you remember how they did the flag ban at UC Irvine?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I was there to do the flag rally, and because of that, we came up with to Celebrate the USA, because we need to celebrate America. Yep. You know.
Amen.
I'm a naturalized citizen. I'm proud to be here. I'm a proud American, and I feel that if you want to live in America, you must speak English, learn the laws, follow the laws, and obey the laws. So, you know, that's not too much to ask of anybody. And that's why Carol and I and Patrice, we're doing the Celebrate America, and our goal is to get it across the country so that every community or every region will have their own little group. to celebrate America and be proud. You know, love this country, appreciate what it has given us, and protect it. Yeah. Without our republic, there will be no world. The free world will be lost. So
we're all trying to save this republic. That's why we're all here. Anyway, I'm just going to have this out. Take 1 or 2 or 3. If you know somebody you think would be interested, please I'm just going to throw them and just pass them down, okay?
And in addition to what we do, we will be writing letters to our vets and our troops, and we will be teaching the kids patriotic songs. So, anybody has any questions?
We have to talk.
Okay. Any questions? Thank you.
Okay. Has anyone here heard of, I think I'm getting this right, American Way Believers Alliance? No? That's why Sandy Sandoval is going to come up and tell you about it.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you to Bobby to allow me to speak this evening. I am the former president, actually, of the Palos Verdes Peninsula Republican Assembly. And because of some things that I didn't necessarily agree with the CRA, I decided to resign. And I got together with our board, and we decided to start the new organization for all conservatives. Thank you. And that organization is named the American Way Believers Alliance, where we can accept all conservatives. We're finding that there's many people who are not too happy with the Republican Party, as there's a lot of rhinos and that sort of thing happening. So what I would like to do is I'm inviting other organizations and hoping that we can increase numbers and get together. We had the NRA come to our last meeting. Joe with the JBS, he was there as well, and a few others. And what we would like to do is have you attend as well. We are holding our meeting on Wednesday, April 29th, and that will be at the Toyota Automotive Museum in Torrance. So what I'm going to do is we're still working on processing everything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you our Facebook page, which is the American Way Believers Alliance. We also have a web page, however, I've been working with the web designers and it's not complete yet. And that will be democracy.com at American Way Believers Alliance. If you have any questions, please feel free to see me, and I would love to get your information, your contact information, so that we can send out a notification to you directly. Thank you very much for your time. Have a great evening.
Yeah, Sandra's group is bringing together a lot of groups that are disheartened, shall we say, by the Republican Party. I guess there's probably a few of us out there. Okay, I've got a bunch of things to talk to you all about. Let's start with what makes us different from the Oath Keepers. The Oath Keepers organization that we once belonged to. The main thing that makes us different, I'll tell you, and one of the guiding factors is we want to be political. We want to jump into the political fray, which Oath Keepers is, by their bylaws, non-political. We don't want to be non-political. Plato said, those who will not get involved in politics are destined to be ruled by those who will. Do we like the way we're being ruled?
No.
No. So let's do something about it. We've got a bunch of things in line. We got a bunch of things that we want to do. We want to recall people. We want to help candidates get elected. We want to get rid of some of these people that suck. Okay, a couple things I want to go over with you. Our mission statement. For those of you that hadn't heard it, Guardians of the Oath is a citizens group that supports and includes anyone willing to take and keep the oath to protect and defend the U.S. Constitution and the American people. We work with America's Guardians to uphold and defend their oath to the Constitution and the citizens of America. As a political activist group, it is our duty to stand with those who keep their oath, as well as drive out those who break it. Our motto is, we guard their backs because they stand with the people and not the government. And that's what we want to expect them to do. Stand with the people. Because the Constitution was written to protect the people. It wasn't written to give us rights or to give the government lord over us. It was to restrain government. It was to put the government in shackles so that it would not put us in shackles. And we have to be vigilant. We have to be very vigilant. And we have not been. Unfortunately, what patriotic Americans have been doing for far too long is finding the American dream, getting educated, educating our children, working, praying, playing, doing our jobs, and contributing to and electing people we thought had our backs. We elected people to mind the store, to mind the country, while we were out being productive Americans. They turned on us. They've become essentially the enemy. They have become the government that the founders warned us about when we thought we were doing it right. But we haven't been doing it right because they've become criminals. It's become a criminal class, a ruling class in a classless society. We have a classless society. It was set up to be that way. There wasn't supposed to be a middle class, upper class, lower class, whatever. Because class, the idea of class is that you can't get out of the one you're in. Fortunately, in America, that's still possible. Lower class people can work hard, can get themselves into an upper class, into a middle class, into a class that they feel right being in, whatever they earn for themselves. Big difference. That had never before happened on planet Earth. Now, another thing I want to read to you is our statement on Oath Keepers. Because I was with Oath Keepers at the Bundy Ranch. A couple of them. And when I say a couple, I mean, well, maybe 4 or 5. That's all that were there. A lot of you know about the Bundy Ranch incident. A lot of you don't. It's not probably all that important. But Oath Keepers National organization had no representatives there. We regard the Oath Keepers organization as brothers in arms with similar goals to our own. We are not in competition with Oath Keepers in any way. Quite the contrary, we consider ourselves a support group and hold them in the highest regard. Guardians of the Oath appreciates and values the model that Oath Keepers has set forth, and we share their goals, albeit along a slightly different path. And that's how we feel. We want to be political. They're not political. That's fine. They go their way, we do it our way. And it seems to be working out very well. The speech I gave at Bundy was very well received. The people loved it. People were coming up to me for the rest of the time that I was there, wanting cards, wanting flyers, wanting to get more information, wanting to join. Some of them are still with Oath Keepers. Some of them had been with Oath Keepers. And we welcome them all. I tell people, maintain your Oath Keepers membership. They use the money. They put it to good use. They do billboards. They have their outreach activities. Terrific. We don't want to take dues. We don't want to have a paying membership. For one, because we don't want to compete with them. We don't want to compete with anybody. We want to do what we joined Oath Keepers to do. And we've been saying that we don't have chapters. Some people don't like the fact that we say we have cells, because we kind of followed the Al-Qaeda model. Works for them, right? So what the individual cells do is they support themselves. They fund themselves. They do the same thing that we're doing. They outreach to military, to law enforcement, to first responders, to politicians who also take the oath. And they do it in their own way. And we let them use our copyrighted materials, logos, etc. That's all we have over them. That's all we have. We don't want any control over other groups in other states and other cities. We'll help them get started however they want to do it. That's what we're about. That's what we're looking to do. We're looking to get the job done. I don't really care who's doing it. I just want the job to get done. All right. Now, one thing I want to make clear that Joe brought up earlier about this bicycle race. I don't have as much information on it as I should, as I would like to, but it's been ongoing for how long, Kim? The bicycle race. How long has it been going on? 24 years. We are inheriting this race. We're not invited to attend it. It's being given to us. We can make this the Guardians of the Oath bicycle race. Been going on in LA for 24 years. We need to run it. It's a once-a-year event. It's not a big deal. We need someone to step forward and take control and leadership of it. And just run the rest of it like a gun show. Hand out cards, get people signed up, get them on our email list, get them here. Get them joined, get them doing what we do. So you can see me after the meeting, whoever's willing to take up this cause. We really need it done. I'll tell you, I've been so busy. I'm trying to delegate some of this stuff. Because I have to work too. Somebody's got to feed me, you know. I don't do food stamps, and my ex-wife is sick of me. Okay, Jade Helm 15. We're learning more and more about this. I was with a group at Bundy that talked about that. Somebody had a really interesting take on this. I'm not going to profess to know why the government is doing this. But somebody had a different way of looking at it. Probably the lowest level authorization for this, I would think, would be the Pentagon. I would think that's as low on the chain as it could be to orchestrate and pull off an operation like this, a drill like this. What if the Pentagon put this on to train their people to defend our cities against a belligerent government? Selling it to the government as what it's being portrayed as. You know, to prevent a red, white, and blue dawn, as they call it. A citizen uprising. Control the masses when the economy collapses. It could be for all those reasons. But maybe it's not. I tend to think outside the box sometimes, so I don't know. I'm not going to say which way is true. I don't know. Just another way to ponder things. Because when it comes right down to it, I don't believe our military will stand against us. I just don't. I don't have the same confidence in the law enforcement, the local constabulary, and all of that. But then again, that's our job, is to win these guys over. One of the things that I want to start with on Guardians of the Oath is I want to start a project that I call, for lack of a better word, the Offended Warrior Project. All the top brass that Obama and Clinton have fired, all the people who have quit the military in disgust over leadership in the last 20 years. I want to get those guys in. I want to get them with us. Because if it all goes to hell, we need them on our side. They can defend us. We cannot defend ourselves we can't defend ourselves militarily against our military. I mean, obviously, it's the greatest military in the world. We know it. So we need our military to defend us against our military, if that were to happen. But what we really want is them with us opposed to the government, if that's what it comes down to. And then Operation Gold Rush. This thing going on in Oregon, are you all familiar with it?
Yeah.
Yes? Yes, raise your hand. Okay, it's not a whole lot of you. Okay. The Bundy Ranch a year ago was all about the government stealing a man's cattle and trying to run him off the land that he and his family have used as grazing lands for 150 years. It's the first time that the American government has backed down. And they backed down across from the American citizens, both armed. Well, what this is, there's a mining concern up near Grants Pass, Oregon. BLM has been going on their property to kick them off. There's a gold mine. It's a gold mining company. They have been mining gold on that very site since 1850. There have been millions of pounds of gold taken from that site. Millions of pounds of gold. And they estimate they've only taken out 10% of what's there. It's a lot of gold. Well, the BLM has been coming onto their land saying, you have to get off. You have to stop. You have to get off this land. And they said that if they're not off, they're going to come in and remove the people and burn any existing buildings on April 25th. It's a week from Saturday. Why? Word is that the government doesn't want the Chinese to call their note, our note. So they want to give them this land instead. See, that was the deal with the Bundy Ranch thing too. They wanted to give, he and the government, Harry Reid and them, wanted that land so that the Chinese government could put a solar farm on it to sell us electricity. That's what that was about. Nothing is ever done in a vacuum. Nothing is ever done just because. There are reasons why criminals do the things they do. Because they have a history of being criminals. And one crime begets another. Especially when you're at that level. So, there's been a call for people to go to, it's not really Grants Pass, I forget the name of it. Josephine County, what is it?
It's close to Grants Pass. About 30 minutes away.
Right. Yeah, it's close. It's close. Josephine County. The operation is being run by Josephine County Oath Keepers. National, to the best of my knowledge, is not involved at this point. So we may be going up there. Think about it. It's a 15-hour drive, roughly. I may go up, I may go for the weekend, I might stay a little longer. Some of us are talking about it. We're kicking it around. Think about it. Because I think with enough people on site, the BLM won't move. Now, will they wait for everybody to leave and then do it? I don't know. What we did at Bundy is had a rotation where a few hundred of us were in there and we would stay a week, stay a few days, whatever. New people would cycle in, and that's the way we did it. But don't get the idea, don't listen to the media and get the idea that, oh, they didn't pay their taxes or something like that. I just talked to a lady, wanted me to donate to the Tea Party. I don't have anything against donating to the Tea Party. It's just that this group hasn't paid me back yet for the shirts and the... so I didn't have the money. But I was telling her that I was going to the Bundy Ranch. And she said, oh, didn't he fail to pay his taxes or something? Bull.
That's right.
Yes, the federal government did assess taxes on him on the land they do not own. You know, they don't own the land. That was Nevada state land. Now, I believe this is federal land that this mine is on, but they've procured the mineral rights in perpetuity. It's a contract. See, that's why the Bundy Ranch thing, anybody hear of the Desert Tortoise? That's the first time any of us heard about it. They said, well, you've got to get off this land because of this. No, I'm not going. Oh, well, we got this piece of paper here. No, I'm not going. Oh, we got a turtle. And turtles nullify all contracts. Everybody knows that. This turtle's been living with the cattle for 200 years, 150 years, doing just fine. until the BLM said, well, let's see how many turtles there are. They rounded up all these tortoises that they were saying were endangered. Once they got them all together, they didn't know what to do with them, so they killed them. Now there's a shortage of turtles. Yeah. No, I kind of forgot about it. You can start running it. Just some pictures that we took at the Bundy Ranch. Nothing too exciting, just guys. So, anyway, that's what's going on in our universe. Let me see if I got anything else I needed to yell at you about. Huh. Okay. Also, while I was at the ranch, I spoke to Richard Mack. He looks pretty good for an old guy who's had a heart attack. And he likes what we're doing also. I explained to him about Guardians of the Oath. I told him what was going on. And he liked it. I didn't have a long time to talk to him, so I called him back today. And he's real interested in what we're doing. We're going to get back together, see if he's going to be going to Oregon or not. And I want to encourage you all to check out our website. See, it's right here on the logo, on this really neat banner we had printed up. And then on Facebook also. It's good for us, for a lot of activity to be going on those sites. People see things happening. They see people communicating about what we're doing. That's really good for us. If you've got some time during the week, go to those sites and please do that. What else we got? Again, the raffle, it's good for us. Buy the shirts. We got to get more made up. We can't get more made up till we sell the ones we've got. I'd like to put whoever goes up to Oregon, I'd like them to have shirts to wear so that we get our name out there. That's a good thing for us to do. That's one of the things that we're looking to. One way for us to get known. What else do I got?
Those are the pictures from Bendy Ranch this time. That's that one. Those are the pictures from Bendy Ranch this year.
How does the Oregon State government feel about that situation?
The sheriff is not constitutional in Josephine County, Oregon. Aside from weapons, the way they feel about weapons, it's a pretty liberal state. Yeah.
It's like another country is what it's like.
Yeah. Well, that was the first thing I said when I spoke at the Bundy Ranch. I said, wow, I said, it's really great being back in America. And I said, you see, I'm from California.
Impeach Obama. Nice.
Yeah, we saw a lot of people that were there before. Some people we've known since before that. That's Captain Carl. He's from Wisconsin. He was in on our Jade Helms meeting. We were talking about that. He and I have a lot in common. We're, I think, going to be doing some very interesting projects together at some point. A lot of good signs and stickers and stuff up there. Oh, wow. I forget what that bill is. They told me I forgot. Yeah, that shirt in the middle of the previous one, that was one that they were selling about the Bundy, actually first time and this time as well. Okay, another thing that that we're going to be doing as well, I'm going to be putting membership cards on the website so people can print out their own membership cards. So people who want to be a member, you're a member. Welcome to the club. It don't take much.
You gotta buy a shirt though, right, Bobby?
Yeah, you ought to buy a shirt, right? Yeah. I don't know if I mentioned this before. Before I do, I got to tell you, this guy came up to me after I gave my speech, and I said that we were at one time Orange County Oath Keepers. And this guy came up to me and said he wanted to talk to us about leaving the Oath Keepers. He said, I'd like to interview you. And he said, and I said, why? Well, I'm just sort of interested in, you know, and obviously he was a journalist of some sort. And I said, okay, for who? He said, Southern Poverty Law Center.
Oh my God. They were there?
Yeah.
Oh, bastards.
So I gave him my cell number, and the guy didn't even have the stones to call me. So, he still might. I mean, I'll talk to him, you know. He asked me why we split off. I'll just say, because we want to be political. And we hope to be as great an organization as Oath Keepers and stand and fight against people like the Southern Poverty Law Center.
Yeah, there you go.
So speaking of that, there's any of you who are researchers, any of you people that have some time, anyone who likes to write, any of those things, I'm going to put a section on the website, and this is something I've wanted to do for years. I want to have a section called The Fiends of Liberty. And I want to call out, document, and highlight these anti-American groups like the SPLC, the ACLU, Media Matters, all the Soros organizations. I want to spotlight these clowns and call them out for the liberty-hating anti-Americans that we all know that they are. So, anyone who has an inclination, wants to do some research on one of these groups or people, I would love to get this thing started. Obviously, the SPLC probably has to be at the top of the list. I'm not sure where the GOP is going to wind up on that list, but it just might the way it's going.
Both parties need to be.
Yes, sir.
David Horowitz has a website, Discover the Network.
Oh, does he?
Yeah.
Great, we'll check it out.
Left-wing organization in America.
Excellent, excellent.
That's David Horowitz, Discover the Network.
Terrific. I'm not surprised. He's a great patriot. He's a really smart guy. Short, though.
Yeah.
Okay, so anyway, that's, I think that's going to be a lot of fun. I think it's going to get us a lot of notoriety. I think it's going to help out with what we're doing a lot. Okay, I'm going to shut up briefly and let you all get up and walk around and walk over there and buy some shirts and raffle tickets, get some more beer, and then we'll be calling the raffle. We'll have some sporadic announcements, no doubt. I'm sure Roland has something to say.